GM.
Well, welcome to my analysis of the best game, and this is a real cracker of a game from round 4 of the Grand Chess Tour in Croatia. And yet again, we're picking two players which I've talked about before. The one and only Magnus Carlsen, who I actually think is the strongest player of all time, and his opponent Mamedyarov. And this is incredibly exciting game here. Just before we go on to the game, I would like to say that it's your last chance today to take advantage of the Ginger GM sale going on up there, where you can get 2 courses that we're doing from 2 very strong players, a Grandmaster and International Master, Danny Gormally and Lawrence Trent. 20 hours in total. All you have to do is go to the Ginger GM website, place both courses into your shopping cart, and then use that discount courses_50 at checkout, and you're getting 75% off, because come Monday they're going to go back to full retail price and there won't be any more discounts going on. So it's your last chance to get a great deal. We're adding 150 puzzles to these courses come next week, and we're going to be improving them on an ongoing basis. So I think it's a great deal. So if you want to support Ginger GM, then please do dive into that offer. Go to the website and get them. It also helps me. Right, so this game, I have to say, it's probably my favourites of the tournament so far. It's really up my street. And yet again, we use our little friend Harry. Unbelievably, Harry the H-Pawn plays an important role, as he has done in all the video games that have been played, all the games I've picked from this Grand Chess Tour so far. So it starts off with the English Opening with c4. Magnus playing this quite a lot recently. g6, now Mamedyarov's choice, and after knight c3, Mamedyarov now decides to play the Grunfeld Opening with d5. And Carlsen plays the most flexible move, taking on d5. Other options include d4, but then this goes more into a main line Grunfeld Opening. And I think pawn takes d5 is more flexible, because you don't have to decide what to do with your d-pawn yet. The pawn can often come to d4, as we see in the game, but it also becomes a target of attack on that square. The Grunfeld is the main opening nowadays with Peter Svidler, MVL. In the past, Fischer, Kasparov have used it to great effect. And I believe it was Anand, wasn't it Anand, who played it against Magnus Carlsen in the World Championship match? So it's a very good opening where black goes to dynamic play. Knight takes d5, and here we come. Anyone who first laughed at me for suggesting pushing Harry can now eat their words. I mean, maybe, I don't know how many years ago it was when I started doing this on YouTube. I started saying, when your opponent has a fianchettoed pawn, the move h4 is a great way to attack that position. And some people did laugh, and they said this is a ridiculous idea. But look how much it is catching on. Well, it's always been there. It's not an invention of my own. I can't claim that. But it's something I'm probably well known for as well, playing nearly all the time. And it makes a lot of sense, this wing attack, to attack this pawn on g6. Let's see some more moves. Knight takes c3. And now white takes towards the center. Much better positional idea. And now bishop to g7. Other moves have been played as well, but bishop g7 is ignoring basically white's threat. Pawn to h5, white continues the idea, and you can see white's idea. White mainly has 2 ideas here. One's to take on g6, one's to play h6. Now, when black castles, if black castles, white will want to take on g6, because then he has a ready-made attack. And in some other positions, white can try to play h6 and embarrass the bishop before it has a chance to retreat to h8. So this little mischievous pawn causes black a lot of problems. It's a good way to play, and this kind of wing attack works a lot better when you have a stable and secure center, as white does now. His center is very stable there. He has extra pawns to guard it. So, okay, Mamedyarov plays c5 in typical Grunfeld fashion, trying to control the center of the board. And now white puts his rook on a very useful file. And we're actually now transposing into an old Grunfeld line, a line which has really got out of fashion in the 80s and 90s. But one thing which Magnus Carlsen has the edge on over his opponents, and this is something which I think is rarely talked about, but why is Magnus Carlsen that much better than all the other brilliant players, the players playing this tournament? One of the reasons I think is because of his vast knowledge and his vast memory. He memorizes. He's got a photographic memory, as did Bobby Fischer, who famously read a book and could remember most of the chess ideas in a couple of takes. Magnus Carlsen, if you show him an idea, or if he sees an idea that's maybe forgotten from 20, 30 years ago, he won't forget it. I mean, the other players have phenomenal memories as well, but Magnus Carlsen is a little bit special. And I remember at the Reykjavik pub quiz, he got the highest score ever, and this was in hard chess questions. They asked him some very bizarre chess questions, and he was able to answer them all. His memory is phenomenal. And after some more moves, b6, black decides to put a bishop on b7. White now transposes into a Grunfeld by taking the center. Black very bravely castles. You have to give Mamedyarov credit for castling into this. Now that black has castled, white can open up the h-file. And now we are into a Grunfeld main line, because you get this position, and the way you get it from transposition is with white playing d4 and move 1. And this is a very dangerous line for black. I mean, I'd be very happy playing this position as white. Black's next move is, I think, not the best. I think something along the lines of bishop g4 would be better, trying to stop what white does next. Bishop b7 seems very natural, but now Magnus goes for it. And again, credit where credit's due. I mean, you don't have to play this way as white, but the move knight g5 leads to some very exciting prospects. The main idea here is to simply bring the queen over to h4 and checkmate on h7, transferring the queen to the h-file where the action is. But there's some other very subtle attacking ideas here, and this is really a fascinating position. One trick which props up in this position quite often is something along the lines of, well, black, what does black do here first? Black has to be brave. Mamedyarov playing this very sort of come and get me opening. I think his feeling is he has a very bad score against Magnus, and he's thinking, right, I'm going to have to play for a win. I'm going to have to take some risks. Let Magnus come at me, I might get a chance kind of attitude. Here he takes on d4. So I have to say bravo to Mamedyarov for playing, in a brave way as well. And already in this position, white's next move is certainly the most obvious, but maybe not the best. Queen g4 was played. Now, this is not the best move, but it's so, it's so obvious to get the queen into the attack. We'll come back to the best move in a minute. But first of all, I have a question for you, and do pause if you need to. If Mamedyarov now takes on c3, pawn takes c3, what is white's best way of continuing this attack here? There's a number of options here, but white has a knockout, beautiful and brilliant winning move here. I mean, there's more than one winning idea. Pause if you need to. Well, the obvious move, queen to h4 or queen to h3, is strong, but black can hold on by giving his king an escape square. This is the only way to defend against queen h7 checkmate, rook e8. And now, after queen h7 check, the black king can go to f8, and white is still winning here, but it's a bit of work to do. The only winning move here is the phenomenal knight to e6 check. Point being, pawn takes e6, and now we get rid of the remaining defender with ideas of the queen coming to one of these two squares. So this is winning, but black can fight on a little bit with some bizarre move like queen d2. There's an even stronger idea, and the idea is phenomenally beautiful. If black takes on c3, the winning idea here, did you see it? Rook to h8 check first. A phenomenal tactic which I haven't seen before. If king takes, we now come in and we come in with tempo, with mate. And if bishop takes, we now go to h4. Queen h7 is really unstoppable, because now if rook e8, we can check, and in this position we take on h8 with mate. That's the main difference. I mean, bizarre and exciting lines there. So I can understand why Magnus played queen to g4, but actually a stronger move would have first to have played the bishop to c4, bringing another piece into the attack. And I think in this position, black should not repeat this position. I think white probably has a winning attack here. You have 1, 2, 3, and the queen attacking a very naked king. It must be mate. And if queen c7 here, how would you continue? Well, we go queen g4 again, with a beautiful idea. If queen takes c4, we have the same idea. Rook h8 check. What a fantastic way to win a game that would be. And after bishop c4, black has nothing really better than knight d7, but now white can just take his pawn back. So we will not even material down, but we have the initiative against the king. This must be crushing. So that was Magnus's chance, but again, I can't criticize him for bringing the queen into the attack. Mamedyarov finds the only move and way to defend, bring the knight to this square. Queen h3, threatening mate. Knight f6, stopping mate. e5, trying to get rid of the defender. Blow for blow going on here. There's only one move. Knight to h5, trying to block off that file. Remember, if the g pawn ever moves, black has ideas with bishop takes h1, getting rid of one of the strong attacking pieces. Still a very messy position. Instead, Magnus tries e6 here. And, you know, humans in these situations often miss chances. Immensely complex position. And in actual fact, the best move here is to play f6 and just to keep calm. But I don't know how many humans would play in such a way. The move that Mamedyarov played is more human-like. Mamedyarov plays queen d5, and he now brings his pieces to centralized squares, and he offers the exchange. Again, there are many other variations. I'm kind of skipping over a little bit in this line because otherwise this would be a 40-minute video, and I want to keep it a little bit more precise. But you can have fun at home trying some of the lines out. I mean, one line maybe I should have included is the line bishop e2, trying to get rid of that knight in a very straightforward way. But then queen d5. And in this position, if bishop takes h5, which when I was looking at this, I thought this must be winning, black has a defense. Pawn takes, queen takes, and now queen takes e5 check, with the idea of even bishop e3 is possible, playing queen f5, stopping h7, stopping the queen coming here, and actually black's winning now. There are amazing defenses as well as amazing attacking opportunities. It's a fascinating position. Magnus tries e6, queen d5, and this is a brave move. White captures on f7, rook takes f7, and Mamedyarov happy to give the exchange up, so his king now has escaping square. And the thing now is the white king's very weak. So now Mamedyarov takes a bit of control. Bishop d3, bringing in another piece to the attack. This is the way Magnus plays now. He's playing more like Tao every day. It's great to watch. He's, you know, he plays all these different styles, and this is a brilliantly exciting game. Just the way I've played many games, you know, well, not as well as this, but, you know, it's just in the style I appreciate. Queen e5 check. And now if the king goes to this square, black would have knight to g3 check, using more tactics and getting rid of the dangerous rook. So the king has to go to d1, but now the king is very exposed. And after king d1, black opens up another file. And around here, it was looking very dodgy for Magnus. Could Mamedyarov beat his undefeated streak? Well, it is still Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen cashes in. Knight takes f7. King takes f7. And here, rook to e1, bringing the rook into the game. Now, a very clever move by Mamedyarov. c2 check. And this is before the white king can run here, so this keeps the white king exposed. Sometimes your own pawns get in the way of your own attack, and this move means that black has more options. Good to sacrifice, it means you keep the initiative. King takes can now not be played because you lose the rook, so bishop takes is forced, and after rook d8 we can see Mamedyarov's idea. Another piece comes in against the lone king. Bishop d2, holding on. and queen d6 with fantastic compensation. Black had to stop the queen coming to this square. Queen e3, defending against the mate. Knight to f4, another very aggressive move, bringing another piece in. And this is where now Magnus defends very, very well. King to h1, so the bishop on d2 can move. Bishop to h6, lining up another bishop dangerously. King to b2, the king is running rather scaredly. And this often happens in attacks when you're the one who's doing the first aggressive maneuvers, as Magnus has done. If it backfires, Magnus missed this bishop c4 move, you can be on the receiving end. And this is maybe Mamedyarov's strategy during the course of this game. Mamedyarov saying, I'm going to go for you. I'm going to let you come at me first. If you can't mate me, I'm going to have a go. So it's a brilliant game. There are a number of moves here. Now, rook c8 was played. There are a couple of ways that black can go wrong. For example, queen takes d2 wins a piece, but after queen takes e7 check, king g8, rook d1, white's king is very safe if it ever gets checked and moves to b1, and white is simply winning the rook here, for example. That's one way. The best opportunity here would have actually been bishop to g7 check, but the position is still roughly even here. Rook to c8 was played, trying to control and stop any bishop c3 move. And now Magnus probably should have put the rook on d1, but instead rook to c1. Just trying to get all his pieces as solid as he can. And e6 now played from black. Again, numerous other options there, but this is a safe way to play because now the black queen can move and not worry about defense of e7. So you're freeing up the queen. King to b1, and around here Magnus has defended perfectly and he may well have the advantage again. But there's more chaos. Black grabs a pawn and now bishop to b3. The actual way, a tactic that Magnus missed here was bishop takes g6 check. It's tactic upon tactic. The point being, there are numerous ideas here involved with capturing the rook, and if knight takes g6, which threatens the queen, and bishop to e4 check, this may look again very scary, but the king can eventually step away, and after numerous tactics, this kind of position is favourable for Magnus. So he misses another chance, and with all this chaos going on, you know, even the top players in the world can't calculate things, but this is where computers come into their own in such tactical positions. No one can play better than a computer in these positions. Bishop b3, a safer move, and of course, you know, this was a missed opportunity, but this is a way to try and just consolidate Magnus's position. And around here, well, I would say it was roughly even, and white has the extra exchange, but black does have 2 pawns for the exchange, so it's equal on material and good pieces. And let's just see how things get traded off. And we now have more tactics entering into an ending. And actually, maybe I'd take white here, but it's not quite enough to win because Magnus just doesn't have enough pawns here. In order to win endings, if you can remember his game against Anand, he didn't have enough pawns. You need to retain pawns. And after a couple of moves, it's quite clear that black is very safe in this position. White will need to win both of these pawns in order to be successful, and he will struggle to do that. He wins 1 pawn, but now black's got all this counterplay on the king side, and it's still a bit of a race situation, and as we can see, but the black knight does get back in time, and black now activates his king very cleverly, and with the king coming to support the g-pawn, things do get liquidated. I have to be honest, this is the kind of position that you can still lose with either side, but these guys playing very well. Basically, black's going to sacrifice his knight for this pawn, and white's going to have to sacrifice his rook for this pawn. And then white should be able to pick up the remaining pawn on e6. And after some maneuvers, Magnus even here plays for a win, but it's quite clear to see that this position is now an easy draw. So a fascinating game. I mean, even the ending I'd like to spend a bit more time on, but you know, I want to condense this video a little bit. Some brilliant tactical ideas there. I mean, this rook h8 idea, is something I've never seen before, and it's an extremely exciting tactical idea, something that I hope I remember. Talking about patterns, this combination, if you're able to get this combination, this is well worth remembering, this rook h8 move to win the game. For example, in this position here where the queen will come on, and the whole point being that the king can't escape to f8 now, because you always have queen takes h8 checkmate. So that was one tactic from this side that will stick in my mind. But very exciting game. Even though it's a draw, it was a Tau-like draw, the way they were sacrificing and going for each other's kings. So they should be applauded for such excitement. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. Just for a last time, I will talk a little bit about the offer we're doing now, in case you're interested in taking advantage of this last chance offer. Come tomorrow, it won't be available to you anymore. You have to pay 3 times the price. And if you're serious about improving your chess, then this, I think, is great. It's a money back guarantee as well. If you don't like it, it's not for you, then, you know, please, you know, we don't want everyone to take the mickey, but you can, you know, it is a great offer. And again, just to show you what it is, I showed you Lawrence Trent's course last time. What you get is a 10-hour download. So you get videos, and this is Danny Gormali's course, and it's on how to win chess tournaments. Danny's won many chess tournaments, being a grandmaster, and Danny gives you some important tips. For example, how nerves affect our ability to see deeper. You can see the different topics over here. There's many different topics. How to do deep analysis, improve your analysis, the beauty of analysis and why it helps get an alternative viewpoints. Let's have a little look at that one. So again, it's the same. Okay, that one is one of the ones you have to pay for. As you can see, a premium video, but of course, if you buy the course, you will get that. And for example, this one here, you can check them out for free. You get the video, and then after the video, the point is you get the puzzles. So some of them are multitask, and they're basically to do with what you've learned in the video. So you have to test out your techniques that you've learnt, and this will hopefully benefit you and help you become a stronger player. You know, testing out what you've just learnt in the video. So this is what we're doing. This is going to go up to full price, £109 come Monday, and that's for both courses. It'll be £220. So for £50 you're getting over 75% off. We are also adding 150 puzzles to these, so you're going to get more and more training material there, and it's something we want to try to you know, we think this is the way forwards for us for the future. We're going to keep doing DVDs, but we want to combine courses as well, because I truly believe we're going to build up our courses in many different elements. And I think DVDs are great, they do help you learn, but the thing that people have told me is you know, you want to test out what you've learned as quickly as possible. It's one thing viewing it, but then if you get a chance to test out what you've actually seen, you will learn things at much better method and a much better speed. So hence why we're trying to make these courses work. So do go and check it out. Do go and buy the courses, 75% off, and you've only got today until it goes up to full price, and you don't want to miss out on such a good offer there. But Carlsen, Mamedyarov, what a game. I can't wait to see more of these guys in action for the rest of the tournament. And one thing I'm still interested in is Harry going to play such an important role for the future. So far, he's been a bloody hero. Keep going, Harry, old boy. So cheers, goodbye for now, and have a great Sunday and start to the rest of the week.